those of you who are watching on soundchatradio.com and viewing on the app, you can see that the studio is filled, right? And and let me say this, man. There is no better place to be than in the presence of elders. I just want to put that out in the conversation. There's when we're having certain type of reasonings, there's no place to be better than in the presence of elders. So I want you guys to pay attention. Those of you who are who wish to engage, please engage, right? A lot of great information coming to you guys tonight. And I'm going to introduce some of the guests in a few minutes. But before we do so, let's do this.
I listen to say the Almighty without a doubt. Me Rastafari, Empress Meninai, kings and queens of H.I.M Iration. Instrument, tell it to the nation. I just see blessing from the King, receive it within. Love and joy, that's all what it brings. I just the blessing from above, I listen, it don't know. Rain all a fall and the whole place wet up. I just see blessing from the King, receive it within. Love and joy, that's all what it brings. I just the blessing from above, I listen, it don't know. Rain all a fall and the whole place wet up. 1892, the 23rd of July. Tafari Makonnen, I listen and see I Almighty in a flesh, come heal the King. I dingy man in a Jamaica, call him Rastafari. Majesty, they catch a priest, call order. No beginning, no ending, no mother, no father. Bless up the taker, you are here, my friend.
Yeah, what? If you can imagine a decade, and then you have 13 decades. That's where we are today. 13 decades, which is equivalent to 130 years, of course. And today we commemorate the 130th anniversary of the birth of the King of Kings. If you go back into history, in the year 1399, the astronomers said that Neptune and Pluto was going to come together and merged. And that merging of Neptune and Pluto was the beginning and the dawning of a new revelation for the African peoples and the peoples of the world who's looking for redemption, repatriation, and togetherness. And yes, lo and behold, on that fateful day, Saturday, like today, the 23rd of July, in the year 1892, such a youth was born. It was so profound in Ethiopia that at that time there was a drought. And when we say drought, Ethiopian drought is not like regular drought. For 4 years, no rain fall at all. So people pray for rain and what have you. At the same time, there was a lady named H.I.M. Every time she's pregnant, she have a miscarriage. 9 consecutive miscarriage. And so the village gather around her because she's pregnant again, and them say they hope that this occasion will be a momentous occasion because one, there's the drought, they want the drought to be lifted. Second, the alignment of the stars says somebody special going born. And third, every one of her previous attempt to bring a child to fruition never come to pass. So lo and behold, once again, on this fateful day in the year 1892, H.I.M give birth to a youth, and that youth is a person that we are commemorating today. That youth is Rastafari. And as soon as she child ball out, rain, lightning, thunder, and the drought just stop immediately. So what one must say, this is not no mysticism and anyone trying then to juxtapose what they choose to juxtapose. Go and delve into your own history, and you too will find that it is as we state. So again, the 130th anniversary are the centennial plus 30, and better yet, we say the 13th decade of Gurmawi Kidamawi Haile Selassie.
So what do we have planned tonight to engage the listeners?
What we plan is to reason about the emperor, share enlightening information that one can have regarding the emperor. And, dispel some of the myth, because some people say Rasta are idiot, Rasta not no sense, because you're a person asked earlier about the correlation between Christ and Rastafari. And we want to then draw the reference that Christ is a title. Christ is not a person. And if Christ is a title, then different individuals can then hold that title, as then the Christian people would say then that title is held by Jesus, the Indian people will say Krishna, and so on and so forth. So everyone can juxtapose or bring into the realm what they choose, if indeed we are going to look to the true essence of the term, because that's all it is. It's a title, and sometimes we get duped into misinformation. And once we garner the right information, it allows us then to make sound decision and make our life so much better. So tonight you're gonna have Rastafari, who's an ancient from the Nyabingi, the Rastafari, full course Rastafari, and he will be here with his fire keys, which is brethren who chant Nyabingi with him. So you're going to hear some of the original Nyabingi drum.
Profi, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, my brother. Like, I when I get a chance to see some of your videos and things on social media and YouTube, it's like really enlightening, my brother. Just being in the atmosphere is really, really a good feeling. So I'm looking forward to the reasoning. Once again, 718-554-8598 is that number in studio. Also, brethren, introduce yourself as well.
Yes, I give thanks. Ras Mystic from the Dark Foundation. We just give thanks for the day as we commemorate the 130th Earthlight of His Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. And really, it's a day for us to remember the works of the King, the examples set there, and to remind us of the works that we have to do today to carry that legacy forward. When we talk about unity, we can draw an example as the OAU. We talk about building a nation. His Majesty always teach, us to educate ourselves, to put our skills to build that nation, to come forward and give that strength. We talk about collective security, coming together for the safety of the nations, you know what I mean, and not really bowing to the system of Babylon to say, we're going to accept their ways. So this day really, is to draw on those works of His Majesty and to commemorate the King and to give thanks, give thanks for the example set and give thanks for our lives that we have here today as Rastafari.
I see I have someone on the phone as well. Caller, you live?
Yes.
Greetings.
Oh, I have more than one person on the phone. Please introduce yourself, brethren.
Yes, indeed. Greetings. H.I.M here, Radio 1400.am, the sound of peace underwater, Connecticut. Of course, we're linking with this mammoth day, this tremendous historical day, the 130th anniversary of His Imperial Majesty's Emperor Haile Selassie's Earth Strong. And of course, we're here gathered together worldwide, internationally, to share this great, great momentous time with everyone in a harmony of peace and love. Respect and thanks for the opportunity.
Give thanks, my brother, and thank you guys for giving us your time and your knowledge to have this conversation. Once again, you guys, if you're just tuning in, you're locked to a special feature here on Soundchat Radio, and we're taking this feature up until 12. The Dark Foundation is joining me. Profi is also in the building, and we are going to have an absolutely wonderful conversation about Rastafari and its existence and why we understand life the way we do, right? 718-554-8598. One of my favorite songs to kick off the conversation is something that I grew up on, and let me drop that one here.
Do you have a picture of His Majesty Rasta?
Yes, I am. Jalil.
And do you have a picture of His Majesty Dread?
Yes, I am. Jai is within I.
And do you have a picture of His Majesty Rasis?
Yes, I am.
On the wall, Rastafari sit up on his throne. In my house, there's a picture on the wall, Rastafari sit up on his throne. Just sit up on the seat of judgment. Red, gold, and green wrapped around him, oh yeah. Sit upon the seat of justice. defending the poor and the weak and the fatherless. In my house, there's a picture on the wall. Rastafari sit up on his throne.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Aye, Rastafari sit on the throne. Hey, you know, one of the things where Rastafari always do is start out something with a mantra. Some people say prayer, but His Majesty have a mantra that him say every single morning when him rise. And who best to really utter that but out of the mouth of babe and suckling. So we're going to have Tafari, brother, that is Tafari's, what you say, his nephew, who is Zeke. Ezekiel is going to come in and he's going to speak to the listenership of the world regarding the mantra that His Majesty say every single morning.
If you don't mind, how old are you?
I'm 15.
15 years old. That's important for the listeners to understand. Go ahead.
Each morning, I offer my body, my mind, and my ability that I possess to be used by Thee, O infinite Creator, in whatever way Thou dost choose to express Thyself through me. I know that all work in Thy work, and that no task is too difficult or too menial when offered to Thee in love and service.
Rastafari.
Rastafari.
You know, you see, we all hear about the Lord's Prayer, but many of us don't know of the Kings of Kings Prayer. Those words that's uttered by Ezekiel is the words that His Majesty utter every single morning. And it's something that I encourage all of us to know, because as it say, you know, all works is Thy work. And we should be making ourselves a service to the Majesty. So, hey, listen up and do as the young man just states, because it is something that will do you well. Chin, it will do the youngster over here well, and it will do all of us here well to really walk in that light and that righteousness of Kuramawi Kidumawi Ali Selassie.
718-554-8598 is that number in studio. Of course, I have a studio full of brethren and sisters of all ages, and that's a great thing. Today, Ninja, and I want to put this out because the elders are in the building, as well as, you know, the brethren just said he's 15 years old. Ninja called me up and he says, today I know that you guys will be doing something for Selassie's birthday on the station. You know, Chin, me know you and me know say you're going to do that, but may I beg you do something for me? And I said, what is that? And he said, I need you to ask this question because it's a very, very important question. And I said to him, what is it? You know, and he says, I want you to ask your Rasta brethren and sisters, how strong do they think the future for the Rastafari movement is at this time? And I said, wow, that's a loaded question. I wasn't expecting that, but I want you to stick around so we can challenge that and have that conversation tonight.
We can start right now with it.
So I definitely want you guys. And again, he was being, you know, humble. This is not like he must say, yo, it's the perfect night to have that conversation on His Majesty's birthday, because he's saying where he's sitting, a lot of the youth them now hold it and they're not coming into the energy as when we were younger and we were citing Rastafari.
Well, as you notice, it was a youth, 15 years of age, that was able to utter the words of His Imperial Majesty that he used every morning. So it becomes now incumbent upon the parents to really guide the children in the pathway. Too often we'll allow the children to do what they want, but you should grow the child in the way that you know, so that they will not turn away from it. And that is what we encourage. You know, sometimes our children eat what we don't eat. They dress or we don't dress, and they do everything in 180-degree opposite from what we do. And no nation is able to advance when that's the case, because the children are supposed to be a microcosm of the elders, to learn from the elders. The sages teach, and then the youth them embrace. So the bigger issue now is, where is the rite of passage? How does the children them advance to the next level? And once you have this rite of passage where individual is then trained from their youth, then they will never depart from it. And that is the biggest paradigm, the biggest problem that we face at Rastafari.
I want to get all of the brethren and sisters involved in the conversation.
Yes, I give thanks, Rastafari, you know. We have to realize that the Rastafari movements build on a lot of lies. And we take those lies for years and make it become a truth. But now we have to talk the truth. Not for the things them what I and I ancient who was before I and I was telling I and I wasn't the truth. And now we come and live that lies and that lies go right down to our youth.
Sing.
So now we find out the truth. We have to change and tell them, say, listen, no, boss, when me that tell you I'm not sorry, you know, but someone shame for it.
So let me ask this, right? Because I know that virgins are listening and they're saying, so what are such lies? What are some of the things that you felt that
Sometimes we all sing about it, you know. Not for the artists them sing about it. Marcus Garvey said look to the east and all those. Those things are not true. It's not Marcus Garvey said those things. And it's very simple. If Marcus Garvey did say that about Haile Selassie, why he baptized in a church and a Catholic and why did he praise his majesty? Those are some of the lies them. And enough of the man them sing about Israel king is Israel God. Israel have nothing to do with that. And I are true Ethiopians. But now the youth now who is rising up, we can come tell them lie there again, you know, because them have Google, them a read, them must, you know, so because Rastafari found up on a liberty and a way of life, now it changed to a movement. Yes, you can have a movement. That's why the Virgin asks the question, is it for the better or is it for the worse? It is for the worse. But don't watch the crowd in the market. If it's even one virgin stand up with that truth is one seed what is going to grow and just continue flourishing. So where we are now, we need to protect what we have. We need to grow our children in the way that, because if I say Rastafari is right, I said it is right, you know, and this is the way, why I allow my children to go the next way? Those things happen because the bridging them, they are not intact with them empress. You know, guys, it's confusion. You is saying Rasta, and your woman over there said something else. It make the children then become unbalanced. So to balance that now, the whole family have to go under one order. And that's what we're dealing with. And the main thing, everybody come this movements. When since Rasta become a movement? Rasta is a liberty, an ancient indigenous liberty. Even some of the words that they are use, you know, we give thanks. They are say elders. We never used to say elders. We say ancient or ancient, which is long before elders. And elders come through church, and we don't come through church. We are indigenous people. The next thing, the Virgin Black, him said Nyabingi. Nyabingi is not an organization. Nyabingi is the prayer, the words. I was there before it become an organization, which was originally groundation. The 12 tribe chant Bingi, the Bobo, the RCO, the Judah Coptic, the School of Vision, name all of them. No individual set of brethren can come and own Nyabingi, saying register. And if it register, it cannot be indigenous anymore. That we are not under the system. We are not a part of the system. We are in the world but not of the world. We don't eat like them, we don't drink like them, we don't look like them, we don't talk like them. We are in trampling down what the system is doing to our people. So that is some of the lies and some of the myths, you know, because you have to go talk to the ancient them that set the foundation, because it cannot grow without the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And the foundation, the ancient way of Rastafari, bring us this far. So why it can't excel? You know, because Babylon have a way of tingling all kind of pretty things before our youth them. trying them bad, not them best, kind of to steal our children from us. Because them have the prison for them have the jail for them have the drugs for them have the prostitution, them have everything out there for them. So we have to stand up strong with our children if we want to save this nation, which is Rastafari.
It's a really interesting conversation happening here at Soundchat Radio. Profi says that a lot of the ancient conceptions and I guess we can call them false realities.
Yes.
False realities is what has kind of hindered the growth of the Rastafari, right? I want to go to some of the brethren on the phone as well. Milford?
Yes.
Yes, I would like you, and who's the next brethren on the phone?
Raspi.
Raspi, to also jump in. Again, one of the brethren here at the Soundchat studio asked a very important question from someone who is looking on the outside of Rastafari, looking in, and he's wondering, if the movement, even though Profi says it's not a movement, right? How long will it last if the youths are not picking it up and running with it and being as militant as the generations that came before them? Talk to me.
Yes, Rasta here in Connecticut. I would also have to concur with what Rastafari has said. In reality, the anciency is really what has been missing from the dialogue. So when we talk about the anciency, from my perspective, it is from the perspective of spiritual nature, in one with nature, but spiritually. So I would refer to it as spiritual righteousness. That is what is missing. So when the Rastas speak of I and I and I and I, they're speaking of that inward connection that we all have together. And when we have our dialogues, the language that we use is also what determines our future. Word sound has power. So if you look at certain aspects of the English language, for instance, the English language, and this is not to take task to our teachers and so on and so forth, but we have to look at reality. The English language also breaks it down into some kind of separation. So, for instance, I, you, they, them, and all of that. So it's first person, second person, third person, fourth person, and all that. So who's at the head? So we're not all on the same level, although we have the same spirit within. And so there is that misconception from my perspective. And then, of course, you confuse it with religion, which is another concept of man-made ideas of how we should live, which is really a cultural idiom. Religion is really a cultural idiom. It has nothing to do with the spirituality, because each culture, each ethnic group has their own practice or practices, and it is likened onto their religion, so to speak. So let us look at it in terms of the human aspects of who we are. His Majesty speaks in those terms, in terms of the spiritual aspect of our liberty, not just about the religion, because religion is a gateway to spirituality, if you want to put it that way, but it's not the end of the road. So yes, I concur with what Rastafari said, the agency, and I listen to Rastafari because, as I am still a student, even though I've been around for quite a while, I'm still a student, still learning, and still grasping concepts and ideas for better growth and for betterment. So I give thanks for the reason. Respect.
I have a question, and I think this would make the conversation even a lot more interesting, right? When we look at it from a music aspect, because you did bring up the music, right? Has the music done the greater good to help Rastafari, or has it actually hurt Rastafari in its growth?
Well,
is that question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Raspi, you want to come in?
Yes, Brethren, give thanks. Well, tonight, we are celebrate the birth, some Rastaman at the earth life, Rastafari, Makonnen, Rastafari, Kidmawi Haile Selassie. And, for the question asked earlier, condition, and from the vantage point which they sit. Well, let us use the words of His Majesty, that from the vantage point where we sit right now, we sit calmly, confidently and collectively. Because tonight is really the birth of the nation we are celebrating. His Majesty's Earthlight really signify and really usher in the birth of the great Rastafari nation, bringing in that consciousness in which the world has never seen before. Up until now, this consciousness, this teacher of righteousness. So when proper, a reason of, the certain of these misconceptions, what we try to know is to cipher out is Rastafari literature and Rastafari history, and profile the Rastafari history. And if like the bridge knows, you look on literature, like you said, musicians, so you talk about no art and the expression, and with music and poetry and all of these things, and it not necessarily bringing you the history, It give the individual's perception, like the bridge talk of the spirituality, how one conceptualize a thought, and how that thought becomes words, and how they may express it. And a lot of time it have nothing to do with the history of Rastafari. So if I want to deal with, and a lot of time you get that status quo, with the status quo. So it comes from university and other ethnographers, not from us, Rastafari.
Yeah.
It is very important. It is very important. And earlier when even the youths them come in now, it is very important now that the youths them, the Rastafari youth them, know the history of Rastafari, as opposed to the literature what them see out there, which written by these professors and these men who got PhDs and the papers that they pushed out and they produced.
Raspi, in regards to the question posed as to reggae music and the contribution that it may or may not make to the advancement of Rastafari, it is a melancholy experience. When we say melancholy, it's bittersweet. Because for one would go and if you go to the four corners of the earth, many individuals became conscious of who Rastafari is through the medium of reggae music.
Of course.
And that can't be denied. And however, as Ras Profi stated earlier, many of the bad habits also come through that same medium.
And this is why
mass media and popular culture.
Yeah.
This is why I asked the question, because when I'm listening to the H.I.M, right, and when he said that about the music, right, you now have to look at popularity, right, and commercialism versus the original formation of what was designed to be, right, and I like to reason from a realistical standpoint, right? That is my thing, right? So I understand when the elders and the H.I.M say I saw the thing set and this is how it was designed, but I'm still not going to act as if I don't see how it's operating now, right? Generations of Rasta brethren and sisters got familiar with Rastafari through the music, right? In most cases, their familiarity with Rastafari came before the reading, the background, the research. They cited Selassie, right? And Garvey and everything else that came with that whole lifestyle through the music, right? So if the music is pushing out the wrong thing, then it could also be the root of the problem, even though it is popularizing the lifestyle of Rastafari.
Hold on, but it's in the individual, because music is an individual expression. So, because someone would have dreadlocks, smoke some ganja, wear the red, gold, and green trappings, that doesn't mean that person is Rasta. It means the person is using that medium to express themselves and to advance their economic pursuit.
But that is the truth.
At the same time, when you go to Africa, for example, and you look at African liberation, every one of the freedom fighters will tell you that they garner a whole lot of strength from the Rastafari brethren through the music. That is the Rastafari brethren, because it's not every music that come from Jamaica is Rasta. And it's not every essence of an individual that said them is Rasta is really Rasta.
And there's not every person that intakes this music understands what is Rasta and what is not. So there is a tug of war here that I feel that a lot of us don't want to acknowledge, because we sit down and we just say Rasta, or Rasta say. And when you, based on the age or generation of the Rasta person that you're reasoning with, you're going to get a different argument. I can tell you, in my generation and the generation younger than me, that a lot of the youth them in a Jamaica, them not read no book. Them not know nothing about the depths of Rasta. They're learning Rasta through the lifestyle of the people that they worship, right? So if an artist get up, I remember, and I say this all the time, right? Growing up as a young Rasta youth, there were lines that you couldn't cross, right? Publicly. Maybe you can do your little thing in a one corner, but if a Rasta man pass and see you do certain things, you gonna get drape up feet. When I say, youth, what you do? Right? Now, when you look at what is happening now in our modern day generation, in my opinion, in the early days before me, as I hear the brethren them talk about it, it was Rastafari that dictated the music. Now it's almost like it's the music dictating Rastafari. These youths are acting towards the behaviors and the messages that's in the music that they're listening to. There's no more reading, there's no more searching for knowledge. That's just what it is.
The question is, how many Rasta artists were there in the first place?
But again, I get what you're saying, you know. Don't think that I'm challenging you. I'm just putting out what is there. It's not only about how many Rasta artists. It's about who the people them think is Rasta artists. That's the problem.
The sound, you know. They say the music, like I said, the authenticity might not be there as it was in the 70s, let's say.
Exactly.
No, like let's tie it in. We talk about anciency and nation building. It is up to the individual. It's okay to come through the music, you know. A lot of we were inspired through the music, you know. But that is just one step. We have to have that consciousness to say, okay, to be around someone like Profi, Dr. B, you know, to say, it's further than the music. So you look for those teachings in those ancients, in those elders, what have you, you know, to take it to that next level. If not, because, you know, they always say, you shouldn't meet someone you idolize. Because once you see their humanity, you see their flaws, it take away that you know, that strength. So that is a reality in the person and the artist themselves also. So it's up to the individual to want to take it further. And it goes back to the teachings of His Majesty, because once you hear Haile Selassie I, you know there's a teaching there. Once you say Rastafari, there's a duty that comes with that. There's a work that comes with that as you get stronger and grow older and gain knowledge, you see?
Yes, well, it comes to the music. The music was hijacked by just to get rid of Rasta. It's bigger than just the music change. It was hijacked, you know, because when them let Bob Marley through the gate, they were just dancing. They wasn't listening to the words. And when them find out some of the things that he must say, they must say, no, sir. The man really like some serious fire away. Me don't know how me and them are going to work it out, because I don't have no friend in the high society. I feel like bombing a church and all them things. They were just dancing. But now, them realize, you know, South Africa, Mandela, all of them can tell us that they want to listen to certain songs. Free Mandela, we got Free Mandela, Brigadier Jerry and all these things. And those music, the words, was helping to free. It's a revolution music that revolute against the system. So, hear it hijack now, because the music, which is Rastaman music, come with ganja. It changed. When you usually go to a radio station, forget your music player. You could have carried 2 mango and 2 banana and 2, you know, go get the radio disc jockey and him play it. But the man who has sell cocaine now come with 3 briefcase. And I say, how much of my song go number 1? And you hear it a play, it, hear it a play, it a play, a play. And all of these was plot against Rasta, you know. Because they make a mistake and let through Bob Marley, you know. For there can never be another Bob, you know. No care where them a try. No one can great. No one can pass him. reggae done with Bob. Bob done it. I him save it. I hit. No care who else come sing reggae. Them cause Bob Marley say everything already. Why else they for him say? You understand? So the music now, them fight out Rasta all tight because IRFM, give thanks to IRFM. IRFM was the radio station you could have go up on it, go say Rastafari and Haile Selassie. You couldn't do that at JBC and RGR and anything. Since IRFM come. And right now, IRFM water down because it's a plot and it's a fight against the Rastafari.
And again, I have to throw the question on the table. Has the music hurt or helped?
It helps some and it hurt.
Melancholy.
Because when you look at it, you know.
Even Stephen.
Look at
help
it.
and hurt at the same time.
Thank you.
You have a radio station. And that radio station have 20 programs. It's only 2 out of that 20 programs can talk about Rasta, you know. They don't want to hear about Rasta. But you see, true Rasta is a spiritual thing. You cannot take that out of the youth them. So all you see look like Rasta go down. Rasta not go down, you know. Rasta rise. Because even the people them that put on luxury style and the red, gold and green and the pretty up and this, them a help protect we too, you know. Because name all of the man them at Jamaica, which is Prime Minister. The whole of them have dreadlocks on. And them accept dreadlock. So that even help to protect we going through, you know. Because if you come a bing, you know, and you're going to beat up all of the Rasta them, you're going to beat up the Prime Minister's son. So that help to protect we, them no bother trouble we again. So don't watch the one them with the style. I rather have to say the style lacks them more than the wig. Yeah, I see it. You know, so
shouts to those of you locked in. We're having a reasoning for the 130th birthday of the King, right? Emperor Haile Selassie. I have some guests on the phone. I have some guests in studio. Trying to really get some of the brethren them to kind of zone in on some very strong points. 718-554-8598. If something may be of importance to you, I see some of you are trying to get across on the phone. Give me a call and let's see if we can put it on the table and really talk about the issues here. Right? It is the celebration, of course, of the the King, and we do have to have a celebratory conversation as well. Right?
But that is the celebration. You don't have to just sing. The reason, because remember, you know, wherever 2 or 3 sitting up and reason of certain positive. Because Haile Selassie not sit up in confusion. If there's any confusion here, Haile Selassie gone. He's not there. Because anyway, confusion, my father not still there. But you can see the love amongst Sinai people. And all of them make it look like, say, oh, Rasta water down and Rasta can't water down. You know what happened? Some of these brethren have bonfire. All of them fireman there. You know, see them stop bonfire. You know why? Because them not live where them are born.
Aye.
So I saw it go, you know. Anytime you hear a man a burn only for fire and you see him stop burn fire, you know what him do? Him gone back to the things them were born. But we give thanks to where him born. Because him educate. Because the words don't belong to none of us, you know. The word belongs to the whole universe. Because a Satan, a devil, and a wicked man, still can tell us something righteous.
And imagine, no, right? You have a president of the United States. And China, I want you to go on the screen for a second. And can you say, and JFK, what did the John Fitzgerald Kennedy have to say about Emperor Haile Selassie? And why he say the things that he have to say? Remember, you know, soon after that, them clap him, you know. After he said what he said, remember, the only king that came into the White House and seat up until then was Emperor Haile Selassie. And this is what JFK have to say about Haile Selassie. Go, make you hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know I speak in behalf of all of my fellow Americans in welcoming His Imperial Majesty back to the United States. Since his Majesty visited the United States nearly a decade ago, we have seen one of the most extraordinary revolutions in history. And that has been the appearance on the world scene of 29 independent countries in the short space of less than 10 years, including over 150 million people. The conference recently held in His Majesty's capital served, I think, to bring together in a great cooperative movement the people of most of these countries. And the success of that conference was due in no small part to the leadership of our distinguished guest. His efforts to move his country forward and provide a better life for its people, and his efforts throughout the world, which stretch back over 30 or 40 years. For all of this, Your Majesty, we take the greatest pride in welcoming you here. You do us honor, and I can assure you that there is no guest that we will receive in this country that will give a greater sense of livelier pride and satisfaction to the American people than your presence here today. Your Majesty, you're most welcome.
There is no guest that will be received in the United States that will give greater pride and satisfaction than this black short man, Emperor Haile Selassie, stated by the President of the United States. No guest. That is not we juxtapose our emotions. That is what was stated. Yeah, the brethren also are the President of the United States speak of the liberation of the 29 African countries that was liberated because of the leadership of Emperor Haile Selassie. These situations did not go unnoticed, because had it been unnoticed, then the President of America would not be speaking about it in a public forum while he introduced. So it is that essence why the Rastafari brethren would say, yes, Haile Selassie stands so predominant, and you have other information that you're going to share tonight with time allow. We hear others speak of His Majesty in these lofty terms, not us. At the same time, the little grassroots brethren, the dongle duppy from out inside of Jamaica, we have to give thanks to them, because they are the one who suffered the brutality, the indignation, the sufferation, to really enlighten us as to the true essence of our heritage. Because in Jamaica, you know what we had? We have on our walls, we have Alexander Bustamante, Norman Washington Manley. We have Prince Philip. We have Pope Paul V. Those were the images that we saw on our walls. It was the Rastafari brethren who said, no, we don't want those on our walls. We need to have images of our African heritage. Thus, you see images of Marcus Garvey. You see images of Thomas Sankara. You see images of Patrice Lumumba. You see images of these other great African leaders who stand tall and stand the test of time. And of course, above all else, you would see images of Gramawi Kidamawi Haile Selassie. Give thanks to the Rastafari brethren.
Let me see if I can get in a call. Caller, you're live.
My brother, good evening. You know, it's fine that you played Kennedy's speech. At the time that Kennedy, number one, when these guys invite someone to the White House or any house, they do their research. They have a complete department that does their research. Kennedy did not speak off the top of his head. Somebody wrote those words down for him. So let's not be fooled by the words of Kennedy at the time. Remember the time when this gentleman visited the White House. Remember what was going on in the United States. Okay? He was welcome because he was a calming figure for the black people that were uprising in this country at that time. So let's not be fooled by a few words by a white guy at that time. Chin has a point with this reggae music. Rastafaris, they lost an opportunity to use a perfect platform to spread the word. Okay? Did not take the opportunity to couple the music and use it as a platform to spread the word of Rastafarians. Okay? That was a lost opportunity. I was listening to a program the other day, and this is a lawyer. This is on MSNBC. And there was a lawyer quoting Bob Marley's words, using it as words to make a point. You're running and you're running and running away. And the gentleman perfectly illustrated how people are running from themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So the music was an opportunity to spread the word and to spread Rastafari. It was a lost opportunity. And again, Kennedy did his research. His department did his research. At the time when the gentleman visited the White House, it was turmoil time in this country. He needed that visit. So please, let's not be fooled by a speech.
So 135 years, 130 years, I should say, right? Tonight, of course, we celebrate the birth of His Majesty. We have some drums coming up. We have some other activities happening in the studio. Go ahead.
But Chin, we don't want to lose sight of the previous scholar who then kind of missed the boat. He didn't depend on the boat at all. Because what he did not understand is that the fight against Rastafari. I preface my statement by saying that what Kennedy did was not an isolated essence that the President of the United States. So we recognize that all these things is research. But let's look at Rastafari in 2022. There's over 3 million Rastafari in South Africa as we speak. Over 3 million. And there is countless quality music that is being produced by Rastafari today. As a matter of fact, when you hear the chant that Rastafari is going to present, you realize that these are quality songs that are modern songs. The question is, how many of the radio stations and the disc jockeys are playing some of these songs? Because again, it was a concerted effort to undermine and to stymie Rastafari, as Profi aptly pointed out, Ras Jr., Mystic aptly pointed out, Ras P, Ras Milford, each and even yourself.
The phone lines are going crazy. I want to get some people involved because it is interactive radio. Caller, you're live. Caller, you're live.
Yes.
Yes, my brother. Join in.
Yes. Yes, H.I.M here. Yes, as far as the music is concerned, the music is also an integral part of the fulfillment of Rastafari in terms of knowing who we are conceptually, giving a path towards the enlightenment that we need. But it's our duty now to move beyond that point, to make sure that in the connection with the music, we can further instill the light within. And that is where the missing link is.
Okay.
So in my perception of it, the question is, how serious is one about their own upliftment and growth and development? For me personally, as I said on these airways before, it was the music that put I on the path. But then I started speaking with the elders. I started reading on His Majesty's words and started looking into things with a more serious focus and purpose. And I think that each person, you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't force the water the horse to drink the water.
I'm a virgin. That's what I was trying to, because when I speak, I speak based on the generation that of course my generation, but I also speak on what I'm observing, right? And I feel like that road to Rastafari, over a period of time has changed for a lot of persons. So once upon a time, the music has helped to make people cite Rastafari, and then people went in and did their research and they connected the dots and they did what they had to do to get a firm understanding of who the king is and what the king stood for, right? I believe, based on my observation, that as things has went from generation to generation, what is starting to happen, or what started to happen, is that a lot of the brethren, them, I would want to call them, and I want you guys follow me with this, right? When I was growing up, because I grew up in the States, right? You had Muslims, right? But then you also had another version of Muslims called 5%ers, right? The 5%ers and the Muslims, they both claimed to be Muslims, but it was oil and water. because of their teaching and how they were doing what they're doing. My observation is that what's happening today is a total different path than what was set in present times. So a Rasta youth know, in favorite artist I lick some songs, and the songs is familiar to him sufferation and the lifestyle where him want live. So him get up and him say, I'm a Rasta, right? And for them, Rasta means rebelling against the system, right? Doing your own thing, not grooming your hair and just, from a man see a man just say you're a Rasta. But there's nothing behind that understanding. And because of their environment, they're okay with that. Because in their environment, they are accepted with being a Rasta on the outside and empty on the inside. And that is the generation that has emerged. And I think that a lot of the brethren, the ancients and the elders are not really seeing that because of the distance in, what would we call it, in relationships. Not for them youth, if you ask them couple things about Selassie, they cannot tell you. It's not their interest to know. The only thing them know is Selassie are God. Why Selassie are God? Because 5 artists where they rate say Selassie are God. Right? So we do have to understand that regardless if you want to believe it or disbelieve it, there is a disconnect because the knowledge, when Puffry and Elder and yourself and the brethren them a come up, the item I read, the item I research, right? Because you want to go to your brethren and say, yo, you never see this. Look on this. The Kushites did this and this. No reasoning like that now go on again.
You not stop, man.
A man a natty up. A man a roll him spliff and a man a say me a Rasta. And if you don't want to acknowledge that part of it, then I just think that you're not really seeing the whole picture.
Sure.
That's just my opinion.
Rastrin, you see, that is why I and I is here now. If I did not take that initiative to go to the next level that you speak of, we wouldn't be here. If Junior Mystic didn't do that, if Profi didn't do that, and all the ones that are here. So there's many ones like us. We are not an isolated group here in the studio. There's many, countless ones. I just mentioned 3 million, Rasta in not just one country, South Africa alone. And many of these are very progressive individuals, not just people that get trapped into the trappings. But it's what we are led to. We are led to believe that Rasta is no worthless. Because remember, Rasta was worthless from the beginning, And no, man, Rasta was good. The same man that said we was worthless, now switch and say we was good. But originally, we was worthless and no good. And today, we are no good for a different reason.
I don't want it to seem like I'm defending,
No.
I am putting forth a reality in the generation that is coming forward. I believe that the ancients and the elders, right, have a different understanding of what is happening right in front of our faces. Yes, there is some youths like the brethren where just come and chant and he's on the right path. But you have, because of the music and the culture, right? We are in this period where for the average youth in Jamaica, in Caribbean society, right? Them gravitate towards Rasta because of the rebellion spirit of Rasta.
Yes.
Not because of the uplifting and the living in love and the peace and the unity of Rasta.
But reggae is not Rasta,
Right? No, I'm not arguing that. And this is why I'm asking the question. Is the music helping or has it helped to hurt?
What did I say? Melancholy.
Listen, it go both ways.
Two sides.
Because right now, as we speak, you have a set a Rasta youth who will rise up. When I talk from, you see the Chronic crew come. Remember you did have the Antelby and the Sizzler, and then they have the Chronic and the Protege, and you have a set who will rise up. No. Them burn everything. And they are all university students. Some of them PhD, where some of them PhD really mean perfect head damage, because some of them are idiots too. But there's a set of youth who are rise up now in a Jamaica with certain liberty. Because we can't leave out the liberty, you know. The movement is the changes, but are we changing for the better or the worse? We see the worst one side, but we still must remember, you know, all of this. What go on, you know. People don't like Rasta, you know. They like you when you have something. Me used to walk barefoot, live a bush, naked to everything. Me fling with everything for Babylon. I'm going to wake up one day with property and car and this. My first name is Dirty Rasta, Stinking Rasta, Nasty Rasta, Lice Rasta. Those are still my name, you know. But when we get house and car now, I never even know say them know say my name Mr. Reynolds. Them say profile again. So it's not about I, it's about the material things.
Seen.
So them use the material things now and try to push out I and I people. The radio station, the TV station, the government, the politics. Remember, you know, Bob Marley said me feel like I'm in a church. Bob Marley said, Haile Selassie is the Almighty. You know, so when you tell people them things that them say Rasta blasphemer, you think the people them like we? They don't like us. They like us because we drive a pretty car and we have a big job and we have doctors now and we have nurse and we have judge and we have lawyers and all these things. Broke tomorrow morning and don't have $1 see if you know the same how that is thinking as a Rasta.
Let me go to the phone lines. Caller, you're live.
Yes. Respect to the station, respect to you, Chin, and all of the guests that you have on tonight. I really enjoy this reasoning that you have going on right now. I just want to make the point that, like you're saying, you know, the Rasta liberty and, you know, the whole movement and the ideas that you're talking about, I agree with you, Chin, how this is a different generation. And what had started out as, you know, this grassroots, this serious spiritual movement, it got taken over, and as the time went on, everyone grabbed onto it and took it for what they wanted it to be. And it seems as though the music is important. Obviously, like the brother said before, that, you know, it's the gateway getting deeper into the true essence of what, you know, the Rastaman is about, and the liberty and how to walk as a true I-man. You know, like there's something though that happens in all religions. There does come a point where there's this disconnect, because even for those that want to say that they're Christian, they don't walk as Christians either. But yet on Sunday they go to church and they dress up and they carry on as though they're living this holy and spiritual life, but they're not really what, quote unquote, Christ would consider to be a Christian. So like, it's something in the people themselves. And I know that even, it's so funny how the parallel of what Christ was going through, when all of a sudden, when they crucified him, everybody wanted to be a Christian after that. And then all of a sudden, the same ones that crucified him are saying, oh, you know, he was the one. He, you know, even though the Jews still don't accept him, so many others grabbed onto it and just ran with this thing, but it's not the real thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know how to explain that disconnect, because people do what they want to do, but for the elders or the ancients that are carrying on that fire, keep burning that fire, because there are those that will ignite their torch off of what you're saying and what you're doing.
100%.
Even, you know, so
100.
respect again. Thank you very much again for the time, and keep up the work, Chin.
Give thanks, Carla.
Thank you for calling in.
Chin,
718-554-8598. The Dark Foundation is in the building. Profi is in the building. I want to hear from you guys. I don't want you guys to just listen to us have a conversation. The conversation is here to celebrate Selassie's birthday with your, you know, your views and opinions, and, you know, maybe for you to gain a greater understanding of what Rasta is defending, right? So give us a call. Some very intellectual people are sitting at this table right now, and this is your opportunity to really, you know, get to the bottom of what you feel that you need to get to the bottom of.
Rasta defend Emperor Haile Selassie and the life and Ethiopia's progress, the progress that His Majesty made towards Ethiopia's advancement, and the life that Rasta made toward black people's advancement. It can't be denied that Rastafari make a significant contribution towards the advancement of African people the world over.
Call your life.
Greetings, family.
Greetings.
Big up yourself, family. Big up yourself. So, family, after midnight, the discussion might have gone until midnight, about 2 hours. So, if we are outside here listening to that discussion, I hear that about the youth, and whatever you are, you're an African person. After 2 hours end, why should one become a Rastafari again after we listen to this panel discussion? And every ideology, every culture must meet the material needs of human beings, must meet the spiritual and psychological needs of human beings. So, for instance, whether it is Rastafari, communism, socialism, capitalism, fascism, Nazism, it has to meet, otherwise the people will not gravitate towards it. So, is Imperial Majesty, for instance, because some people try to separate him, isolate him, that he was just a spiritual king. Yes, he was the head. But guess what? He was a politician, and he meet the needs of his people. As Rasby, you mentioned the speech that 29 countries were liberated. He inspired the people, the Pan-Africanist movement. Yes, he was. That's why the Pan-Africanist movement has its headquarters in Addis Ababa. That's why the OAU came about. That's why the Pan-Africanist Congress in Manchester, England, 1945, the UNIA, and all of them eventually, they Scott and Nkrumah, all of them. But, you know, the United States Supreme Court, some of these judges say they got the original intent. What was the original intent of Rastafari? What gave rise to Rastafari? And what is Rastafari doing at this moment?
Is that a question?
Is Imperial Majesty say we must organize and centralize? Not just some Rasta sisters and brethren out there do them one thing. You have to coordinate that. You can fire blood the Catholic Church and all these Babylon, but you know what? They have systems in place. They have institutions in place. What are the institutions Rastas have to consolidate Rasta and to fulfill the need of the masses?
Is this these questions or statements?
You can read them in how you want them. If whether they are statements or questions or both, and how you want it then.
No, well, we're going to use it as a question for now and
all right.
respond to you now. What we are saying now is, when you look at Rastafari's development through the years, right? I have traveled many places on this earth, and I have seen the contribution. For example, there was a time when food, for example, when Rastaman eat ital food, everybody say him go dead. And Rastaman then in turn set up institutions where him can have him ital establishment today. Is vegetarian outlet today, is vegan outlet today, and earn enough resources that him in turn can employ others. It's the self-reliance of Rastafari. Ganja or hemp, Rasta go to prison more than many other individuals because of the use of marijuana. But that fight resulted in today that marijuana is now free, should I say legalized. Decriminalized, as they say it. But you see, it is because of contributors like yourself and Rasta who made the concerted effort to never give in, even with the other thing. Now, when I speak to you about 3 million Rastafari in South Africa, it's real. And these individuals now are part of the system that fought against the apartheid system in South Africa. Because, as you know, apartheid system was strong. When others were then becoming honorary whites and bowing to the system, Rastafari stand tall. And thus you find individuals like, as Rastafari talk about Bob Marley, etc., etc. But I'm going to take a little segue. Do you know that the leaders within many Rastafari encampment never interested in a reggae music? For example, 12 Tribe is one of the true entity that respected and used Rastafari music as reggae. Bobo Shanti, all of the ones we call Anthony B, Capleton, none of them could have said one note because the leader, Holy Emmanuel I, detest, utterly abhor the music. And they did not use it as an economic empowerment, but Bob Marley, indeed. And today, you can see the entity that them have, the Bob Marley institution that in turn imply others. So yes, we need more. We're not
I'm saying, because I know eventually, I'll have to come off from it. So I just want to, after I just made the point, I can come off from it. I'm saying, I understand that and appreciate love. But I'm saying, take Islam. Somebody mentioned Islam, what was it? Take them for instance. There's a part they call jihad and Sharia law. Here's what they now refer to as political Islam. That they're into the Taliban, in their own way, they have their different isms and schisms too, but in their own way, they're quite clear. Islam needs to run planet Earth. And so they're going for state power. So I'm not saying we Rasta not doing these individual things, but like myself, we are the Rasta hospital. We are. Take for instance the herbs, I just said the decriminalization. And yet it's not Rasta now going to be empowered by that. It's the same Babylon people are coming in who control the purse string now. Going and Rasta minded people. We have to now go after them dispensary and dispense these herbal medication. So Rasta need to organize from every level, economically,
absolutely,
and state power, and take state power. Rasta must take state power.
Absolutely, but Rasta
not only for Rasta alone, but for the rest of the society. If you want to convince the young youth them who thinking tonight, should I go take up some gun and go do a thing? Should I go take up some cocaine and do a thing? What is Rastafari, for that youth, our sister? What is Rastafari for them?
That is being done beyond your eyesight, Mr. Carla.
Go.
Yes.
Big up.
Yes, can I ask you a question? This is Rasta.
Absolutely, brother.
Yes.
Right.
Is the a Rasta man?
I support Rastafari.
No, is the a Rasta man?
Listen, I don't want to get... Listen, what is Rastafari?
No, I asked you a question. Can I answer
I'm asking, you're our brother, that be just a while ago, for instance...
Rastafari is a liberty, and we are life.
Well,
so I want to answer my question.
How that would help pursue to what you want to ask, whether quote unquote Mr. Rasta or Mr. Rasta.
No, you know why I asked that?
Yeah.
Because if the eye is a Rasta,
yes,
the eye is the one who should be doing what the eye is saying. Because you're a part of the problem. If we have a problem, but we don't have a problem. Because
we don't have a problem.
Listen, Rasta don't have a problem.
It depends on it depends. That's why I say.
Listen. Look where we are coming from and to where we are. Don't put us in any competition with Muslim and Catholic and this. We just arrive. Our ancient liberty, the first liberty and creation, we bring it forward in this time. And look how far it reached. So don't feel like say we are not doing. But you know why we can't do more? We don't sell cocaine. We don't rob and thief. You understand? Certain things we don't do. Our liberty. Because if I did want to be a millionaire, I could have sell coke, but I wouldn't be a Rasta again. Because I kill my people to get rich. Most of these people that get rich are slave masters' children. And them get things from them slave masters. We don't get nothing, Not even school, them wouldn't make we go, All know them still a fight with Jamaica for go to school. All know them still a trim Rasta. All know there are certain schools that Rasta can't go. And name the Rasta them have money. The one them have money. As soon as them have money, them not come amongst I and I again.
And brother, here's the point I was trying to make. So, right, here's the point I'm trying to make. So, yeah, absolutely, and so let's take out the last and the sister and think of king and so on and so forth. Right? That's the point I'm making. By merely saying, well, the outside the other thing, you have to the point you have to control those school book. That's the point I'm making. Mm-hmm. Merely out here, everybody do them one little thing. That's why I tell you can't compare. Yes, we can compare. We compare. You have to take the. You have to take the. Yes, Chin.
I just want to jump in and I agree.
Yeah, of course, my brother.
I agree with what you're saying, right? But I also know that you're a strong Garveyite, right? And I want to balance it, because all of the things that you're pointing at Rastafari for, we can point back at Garvey, the Garvey supporters, because the Garvey supporters are supposed to make sure Garvey's in the books as well, and supposed to make so because myself and Eldan, sometimes me and the I, we go back and forth, and again I believe that we're defending the same thing in an essence, right? But hold on a second. More time when I speak to the I, it's like I see we una thump up on Rasta, and rightfully so, because sometimes I feel like we need to get a shake up. But at the same time, right, when una shake una supposed to be willing to get shake up too. Because but hold on now, because as far as when I hear a brethren where it's more upon the Garvey side, like the item, which is, there's no problem with that. But when I hear them look upon what Rasta do and look upon Rasta progress, at the same time, I say, but what the Garvey item progress there in these times as well? Is it there stagnancy? If there is, if we're pointing out stagnancy, is it there stagnancy on both sides? Let's be honest.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
I don't know why you frame it between a Garvey and Rasta like there's a kind of schism and they are diametrically opposite, because they are dialectically together. Because my consciousness, listen to me, when I go to high school, quote unquote, who me hang out with? Rastafari. Absolutely.
Right.
That I was threatened by the headmaster and call me name, and I say some of my students are hanging out with some undesirable people. It was Rastafari during my lunchtime, by the way. And we could have stopped go to school, as me telling at school. We could have stopped go to school and learn about Chasa and all them type of man there, and just go Rasta. Fulfill my liberty for overstanding. So I don't know why you put there that there is that because God.
Remember today,
Rastafari, I think
Kala,
should be quote unquote God.
Hold on, Kala. Remember, today we are here today to commemorate the 130th birthday of Haile Selassie, specifically, and then to draw upon the accomplishment of Haile Selassie and the accomplishment of Rasta, not the non-accomplishment of either, but the greatest contributor that has have made. Now, we can see so many things that Rastafari have contributed to, and you yourself as a brethren, and that we want to focus on.
Absolutely.
So what would you say in your observation? Hold on, Victor, we can talk, both of us can talk at the same time.
Perfect love.
Right? We're saying, what would you say is a major contribution that Rastafari has made to your life and to humanity? You may have
my brethren, I just told you that my liberty toward overstanding earth or earth run, ancient history of Africa, etc., etc., the contribution of African people, I just told you.
Okay.
That not only that back in my day, Rasta store and Rasta store is a brother who helped up the downtown arcade. That I was there with the brother. Numerous Rastafari, never step on the thing I call out. That they Jalai, numerous Rastafari. I went with when I was at university. One of my parts was recognized Rastafari. Part of my thesis was the Rastafari and the hills near Babwalk. I go up into the hill and the official have come and get the thesis for God delivery. So Rastafari is part of me, so I don't know why anybody tries to separate Rasta and Ghana.
I just wanted to get that out.
I don't know why anybody tries because it seems like
I just wanted to get that out of you.
I don't know why anybody tries.
Listen, today is a good day. It's the King's birthday. Right? Rastafari. We're going to do some drumming now, brother Kofi. I just want to get that out of you, my brother. Give thanks.
Let us emulate His Imperial Majesty, fulfill the need of the people.
Yes,
every time.
718-554-8598. Great conversations here at Soundchat Radio. I know, Bridget, you did want to add something to the conversation, so go ahead.
No, yeah, I really want to say, just remember, like Dr. B said, we're here to commemorate His Majesty's 130th Earth Strong, 130th birthday. So I asked, what should someone take from this reasoning or become a Rasta? You can go learn about His Majesty. Learn about His Majesty. We have the creed: hungry be fed, naked clothed, sick nourished. age-protected infant care for. You might not see that thing happen on a large scale, but it is happening as we speak across the globe from Rastafari. Learn about His Majesty. That speech from 1963, His Majesty is the only one who spoke at the UN in 1963 and at the League of Nations in 1936. His Majesty is the one who introduced the word genocide to us, which is the elimination of a race. That word didn't exist before. His Majesty spoke about disarmament and collective security globally and unity of the African people. You know, so that is what the essence of this is about. And I'm going to close myself by saying, history teaches us that unity is strength and cautions us to submerge and overcome our differences in the quest for common goals, to strive with all our combined strength for the path to true African brotherhood and unity. Words of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I.
Rastafari. The phone lines are absolutely going bananas right now. We got about 25 minutes left in the program, and this is when I know that we hit the spot. Right? When you see the phone line, them ablaze, so you know that people are really paying attention to the conversation. Big up to everyone involved tonight, everyone who's in the studio. Those of you who are listening, I hope you were able to get some great, things going, some great thoughts going. 718-554-8598. Can I take one more call before the drumming are?
Oh, yeah, Jappy.
Yeah,
and the ones I'm online.
Let me see if I still have them online. Yes, I think I have them. Jappy? Jappy?
Yes, Bridget.
Yes, I am. Right? Before we go to the drumming, we want the Bridgens them to say a final thing and just. You there?
Yeah, man.
Yes, P. Come in,
Yeah, man. Well, let's give thanks, like you said, the 130th. And like we say in Rastafari, we say history. In Rastafari use history, to change the present. And we do give thanks for it. The 130th birthlight of the Haile Selassie, Rastafari.
Rastafari. Is Milford there? It was just Brother
H.I.M, Rasta H.I.M.
I think we might have lost him. But the phone line them ablaze. Can I take another call or is it drumming time? Is it time for the drums? Call here live. Call here live. Call here live.
Man, I answer happy thanks to King Haile Selassie.
Give thanks, my brother.
Profile, let me hear the profile. Profile.
Haile.
Profile, I can't run a wagwan. Now I go find you now.
Prospect Park. I go over and go chant till the morning. Yeah.
Tonight at the chanting, no?
Yeah, man. Haile Selassie is strong. I'm going to leave here so we're going to seal it up there, sir.
Bless. Give thanks. Hear that. Just hear your voice.
All right, love.
So, can we do this? The celebrations that's happening throughout the in the area. So Prospect Park tonight.
Yes.
Prospect Park. All step up, ancient, because people saying they can't hear you in the microphone and they want to hear what you have to say. Right. So Prospect Park tonight.
Yes, the gathering from first night. Ones and ones gather, and it's all over the world. Just go on your internet, anything you want to, and all them are going like Rasta.
Over 2,000.
Everywhere around the world. Remember, the same old dirty nasty stinking Rasta is the same one today.
Seen.
And give thanks to your brethren like the I who have somewhere. I wonder if the brethren want to come look and say it pretty. We're pretty, we're nice. Yeah. We not do certain things to have what we have. Because if we did not do certain things, we would have a whole heap of things, But how much people would have killed for have it?
Seen.
And most one want to say, oh, Rasta don't have no school and Rasta don't have no hospital. Rasta pay tax. We own it too. We are taxpayer, Another taxpayer money then take the hospital. So the state that they could have done. It's so come back.
So Bingy tonight in Prospect Park.
Yes.
The 12th Tribe of Israel is also doing something. I know that things are in full swing, right, Sister Angie? Things are in full swing now. 12 Tribe sound and chanting and drum beating and all of that. So those of you who want to celebrate, right? There are various places around the city that you can go for those whole realms, you know what I mean? And kick back and just feel that power and that spirit of the emperor.
Yeah.
Phone lines are blazing. I don't know if we can go back to the phone lines because I see the drum setting up. Oh, let me see if I can get Milford on the phone. Caller?
Yes. Yes, I.
Yes, I know that we're closing out before the drummings, but I definitely wanted to hear from you before we close out.
Yes, I was on hold, but for some reason I wasn't able to come through. I just want to give thanks, first of all, Chin, for the effort again, for collaborating this wonderful thing, celebrating His Majesty's Earth Strong this day, the 130th anniversary of His Majesty. And the important thing that I want to say is this. We're talking about looking at the work of His Majesty, his words, and what they mean. My simple thing is this: reverence with excellence in everything that we do. That is how His Majesty approaches it. And so if we overstand that and we stand firm in those principles, then we can begin to see the light of the progress that is being made behind the scenes, coming up front. There's a lot that is happening behind the scenes that ones don't know about. But at the same time, the principles are there. The blueprint is there. Let us walk with it. Peace and love to each and every one. Rastafari guide.
Give thanks so much, and thanks for the opportunity also. You hear us up, my brother?
Yes, I. Give thanks.
I definitely want to say thank you to the Dark Foundation, right? Give thanks to Puffy. Listen, this is a great opportunity to have some really good conversation, right? And I know that the listeners enjoyed it. We're gonna seal it, right? We are gonna seal it out now, right?
With some chant.
We are gonna seal it up with some chanting now. Big up yourself, Sister Angie. Thank you for also participating and making this possible. You know, this I don't know what to say. Right, because I'm just feeling I'm feeling the chills of the moment now. You know what I mean?
Just big up yourself, man. That's all you have to say. Give thanks to your effort.
Yeah, man.
Because
Give thanks.
without your effort, nothing happen.
Phone lines are blazing. Wonderful conversation. I think this is something that we should do. We should space it out and have these discussions. There is no platform that I know of that is an international platform that's having such in-depth conversations about important things.
I want Lax Farm. We're gonna have.
No plot. No plot.
Lax Farm. All right.
Respect.
All right.
And don't you know party is not easy. Leaving the land and the ones you love behind. And don't you know leaving is so grieving. Tears from our eyes that you cry. Can't stop the time. Mama African mama. She's always on my mind. Africa is always on my mind. Always on my mind. Africa is always on my mind. Please say a prayer for us while I'm away, and pray that we will see each other someday. I'll say a prayer for you while you're away, and pray that we will see each other someday. Mama African mama. Always on my mind. Always on my mind. Africa is always on my mind. Here they are. One perfect love.